record. And we are live. So we're going to start with a little Sanskrit invocation, since Sanskrit is the lingua franca of not only the yoga tradition, but also of Jyotisha, the tradition I follow, of Vedic astrology, of Tantra, of Vastu, basically all of the Vedic sciences, Buddhism, what we call Hinduism, Niti Shastra, Chanakya, politics, psychology, all of it. So let's do a little Sanskrit prayer. Om Namo Vratapataye Namo Ganapataye Namah Pramatapataye Namaste Stu Lambodharaya Ekadantaya Vignavanashine Shivasutaya Shri Varada Muhurtaye Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. So, what you see before you is a representation of the Sanskrit alphabet. And what we were just talking about earlier, which is clearing your space, the space between you and the divine, is also aptly done using the recitation of mantra. And it's worth just taking 5 minutes to kind of talk about this, because Sanskrit is a language of mantra. Every sound has a purported effect. And depending on where you are blocked, where the blockage is, a particular sound can help to unblock it. So, for example, the sound p, or f, is the sound for the lungs. So pum, 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 pum. Repeating that sound can help clear blockages in the lungs. And if you do it, you'll feel how your lungs, you actually have to activate your diaphragm. Try this for a moment. This is the sound P-H-A, p, p, with an aspiration. So try it vigorously. Pum, 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 pum. So it's
like a cough.
Yeah, it is.
It's like a cough, but it's also like a type of breathing that you do, like the Bhastrika pranayama, right? Pum, pum, pum. So every sound has an organ that it's connected to. It has a particular energy that it's connected to. And by combining those sounds, we get something called mantra. And there are mantras, there are millions of mantras for every conceivable thing on the planet. Yesterday I was doing a mantra for a particular thing. That bird next to me is doing a mantra, telling me he wants more bread, I think, because I feed them. Yep, they're back. So the goal is to clear away the stuff, that the film that keeps us from experiencing our essential nature. In Ayurveda, this is called ama. Ama is that sticky stuff that you have on the back of your tongue in the morning when you wake up. It's that white goo that you clear out with your tongue scraper. But that's gross ama. You also have subtle ama that coats each of your cells. In naturopathy, they call it a biofilm. And that biofilm is the breeding ground of bacteria. It's where parasites hide. It's a problem. So that's called ama. And in Ayurveda, we have ways to clear ama. But on the spiritual level, we all have spiritual ama. And mantras are a way to clear that spiritual biofilm. So when you recite certain mantras, they help to burn that film so that you can experience yourself, your essential nature, kind of free of obstruction. Can you guys hear the birds?
Yeah. Yes.
They're cheering us on. It's early morning here. It's 7:40, so they're having their breakfast, and I just threw some bread out there. Some nice bread, by the way. So if you go to feed animals, one of the remedies, one of the things we do in Vedic astrology is we give mantras to people, right, to help clear some of this biofilm. But sometimes you have to do a particular activity, like feeding birds, like crows for the particular planet Saturn, pigeons for Jupiter, ducks maybe for Venus. If you want to clear the biofilm related to your relationship with that planet and hence that thing in your life. So in the case of Venus, if you're not experiencing optimal love and affection in your life, and you want to clear the film, the obstructions to that, in Vedic astrology, we might prescribe that you go feed ducks on a Friday. And the scientist goes, what? Feed ducks on a Friday to help my love life? Are you kidding me? No, I'm not kidding you. And try it and see what happens, right? There are certain associations, and you may at the same time also recite a mantra for Venus, right? To accelerate the cleaning of that spiritual biofilm that gets in the way of you experiencing divinity through your relationships. So you see, the Vedic sciences are very allied in this way, and you guys practice a type of remedial measure, which is yoga, one of the best, in that by doing asanas, by doing breathing, by lying in shavasana afterwards, you clear so much biofilm. Yoga is said to work on the physical and the mental level. Meaning, when in the Vedic tradition, when they say mental, they mean emotional, because the moon, the manas, resides in the heart. So mental/emotional. So you're clearing memories, you're stretching the fascia, you're moving the muscles, you're opening the nadis, the energy flow. So you're clearing pranic energy flow channels, you're clearing manasic, emotional and mental flow channels, and doshic channels. You're clearing doshas as well from the body. Like if you have a lot of pitta, you do some pitta clearing asanas, you release all that heat. And you release the sharirika, the body related stresses. So yoga is one of the best remedies for clearing biofilm, but it doesn't work on all levels. And so then mantra comes in, right? So mantra works on the more etheric level. Then karma yoga comes in, right? Then you go and you serve poor people, or you go feed birds, or you do some other kind of act that interfaces you with a segment of society that needs your help. That works on a different level, right? So yoga is one of the best tools. It is the hammer or the screwdriver, whatever you want to call it, that you can use every day. But it's not the only tool. There are other tools. And so mantra is one of the other tools. Karma yoga, seva is another tool, and so forth. So today what we're going to talk about is, I'm just going to introduce you to the world of sound as per Vedic astrology and as per Sanskrit, and how it relates to the different Vedic traditions. So is this interesting at all, or?
Yes, very.
Okay. Okay, just checking.
We're quiet for listening.
All right, so look, I'm going to send you this study chart. Don't tell anyone. It's a secret. And this shows you the relationship between certain planets and certain sounds, for example. So the k, g, g, and h sounds have the energy of Mars. So if you run a sports gym, or if Mars is strong in your chart, or Mars is a good planet for you, then you want to emphasize these sounds. If you already have too much Mars, you know, if your pitta is high, you break out all the time, you're prone to anger, you probably don't want to also use these sounds a lot. Think about the cultures that use these sounds. German has a lot of gutturals, k, k. Arabic has a lot of gutturals, right? They're masculine kind of cultures. Think of Genghis Khan, g, k, right? Adolf, h, Hitler. These are all Mars. All these sounds in red are Mars sounds. So k, k, g, 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 h, k. Kimberly Commando, Kim Commando. There's a show by a lady here in Arizona. K, k, right? Very strong sound. So if your Mars is good in your chart, and you can consult with a Vedic astrologer or Dr. Suzanne, she'll tell you, then that's a good sound for you. But if your Mars is problematic, let's say it's in the 8th house or it's combust or whatever, you want to be careful of invoking that sound in your chart. Then the palatal sounds, ch, ch, j, j, ny, are related to Venus and the water element. And so if you want to invoke the water element, just chill, baby. Just chill. You get it? Languages that have these sounds, especially like Italian, ci vediamo Giovanni, they tend to be very artistic, very soft, very into Venus stuff, watery stuff, pleasing the senses. That's why the best food is in Italy, the best gelato, gelato, right? You don't say gelato, it's gelato, just because. So then we have the cerebrals that are really only represented in, not only, but mostly represented in the Asian languages. This is how you imitate an Indian. You know, you do these sounds. Hello, Mr. Homer Simpson. How are you today? Today. And these are related to the planet Mercury. Now, look, it's not by accident that half of the doctors in the United States are from India, that half of the, or more than half of the computer software engineers are from India. These are all things ruled, science and knowledge is ruled by Mercury. And the Vedic tradition itself is the longest living ancient tradition in the world. And this is because it's ruled by Mercury. The languages are ruled by Mercury. And so they're inclined to make you smarter. And so in my Sanskrit Without Stress program, a little segue here. This is all online now. You can learn Sanskrit online. And their first 4 lessons are free on YouTube, by the way. So in the first lesson, I make a challenge. I tell people, look, take an IQ test now before you start to study. Then after you finish this program, take another IQ test, see what happens. I make the claim that you will get smarter studying Sanskrit. And part of the reason is you're activating every part of your brain using this alphabet. And part of the reason is that the particular sounds you will be forced to make are quite different from what you're used to. And as a result, you're going to activate parts of your brain you never have and become smarter. So that's this row here. Then we have what are called dentals, and they're the normal t, t, d, d, n sounds. And these we find a lot in English. In English, we have the sound the dentist. Hey, where are you going? Going to the dentist, right? We use these a lot in English. And these are Jupiter sounds. Jupiter is associated with prosperity, with all pervasiveness. Jupiter is the biggest planet. There's this kind of sense of bigness about it. And so English is the big language in the world, right? It is the language of all business and finance and so forth. Interestingly, it's not the language of spirituality. And yet, because Jupiter is can be a spiritual planet. Yet most, if not all, books are translated into English, right? So even if you have a spiritual text in Sanskrit or Spanish, it will be translated into English. So things end up in English. And then finally, you have the labial sounds, because you need your lips to say them. P, p, b, b, m, v. All of these, and then oo and o. These are Saturn sounds. And so if you have a lot of these sounds in your life, they can add a layer of Saturn to your life experience. But if you have a good Saturn, they could be good. So this is just kind of a little fly through, 30,000 foot introduction. We can certainly go much deeper. And Dr. Suzanne, how much time do we have for today's session?
About another half hour, maybe.
That's it. Okay. So we're going to have to stay at 30,000 feet for today. And if you want to land this plane and really get into the thickets of what this stuff is all about, I do have my Sanskrit Without Stress program, which you can preview for free on YouTube. The first few lessons are there. So, and then you can get it from me at any time. So another way of looking at these sounds is that there are certain sounds related to each sign of the zodiac. And in fact, if you look up in the sky, the ancient Jyotishis of the Vedic tradition looked up and they assigned a sound to every part of the sky, to each part of the heavens. And so then accordingly, when a certain planet passed through that sound, they could make predictions. This is how earlier this year, I predicted that Bitcoin would have a fall on a particular day and it would rise on a particular day. And it wasn't magic. It was simply because the south node of the moon was in the sound B down here. If you can see my arrow where I'm circling. B is Bitcoin, right? So then it's also Bill. So Bill, all the bills in the world also had a hard time during that time, presumably. More recently, I noticed that Saturn was in the sound Bo. And I said, look, Boeing is the company Boeing is going to have a terrible time. Its stock is going to fall. And they, it wasn't immediately, but a few weeks later, they fired, I think, 7,000 people. They downsized. This stuff, it has real world consequences. So, and that was the whole point of me writing the book Gambler's Dharma, is to show that this whole astrology stuff, which sounds nice in theory, it has black and white results. You can predict stuff like, hey, Boeing is going to lose money in the next few weeks because Saturn is in that sound. Or Bitcoin is going to go up or go down, like that. So while you can use these sounds to predict, you can also use them to name yourself, to name your business. So if we look at your horoscope, and typically the way they name children is they see where the child's moon is. Because the moon is closest to, it's who you are on the inside. It's your emotional nature, how you resonate. And let's say your moon is in the sound He at between 640 and 10 degrees Cancer. Well, then Henry would be a good name for you. See, the phone is ringing. It's God's calling. Or Henrietta, right? Or whatever, the sound with He. Or if your money planet, you're called your yogi in your chart, is in the sound, Mu, let's say, then you want to name your business something that starts with Mu, or you go into the moving business. I don't know. See, because that'll be easy. or the cow business. I don't know. So these sounds have an order and have an arrangement that has been around for a long time, kind of like when you practice asana. There's a certain order to the asanas, isn't there? And yeah, you can do them out of order. You can start your practice with, Shavasana and end with, I don't know, Adho Mukha Svanasana. But it doesn't make sense. So there's a certain order to the asanas, just as there's a certain order to how each sound fits into the zodiac. And if you're smart, you can access it. And, people pay big bucks, big industrialists who know about this stuff. And you'd be amazed how many big financial giants use this stuff. In fact, who was it? JP Morgan, I think, said millionaires do not use astrology. Billionaires do. That you'd be surprised how many people of those billionaires actually have an astrologer on call for stuff like this. So this is useful, real world kind of knowledge. Now, let's see. We've got a few minutes. I do want to talk a little bit about pronunciation. Typically, what we do is we go right into pronunciation. And we are going to do a little bit of this, but I wanted to give you a little guided tour through the alphabet so that you have an idea of the different ways this can be used, how it relates to the planets, how it relates to the signs. And, if you have more questions, we can go into this at another time. So any questions so far about what we've talked about?
Very interesting.
Preguntas, por favor. Piden las preguntas. Ok. Si no hay preguntas, voy a continuar, pero voy a continuar en español. Así que tienes que preguntarme algo. Si no, voy a seguir enseñando en español. Bueno.
Good Spanish. Really good Spanish.
We have two native speakers.
We're giving you the thumbs up, Simon.
Entonces, tienen que pedirme algo, si no, voy a seguir en español, ¿ok?
Sigue, por favor.
Ok, bueno, tenemos...
What, saying to do the rest of it in Spanish?
Yes, if you don't ask me a question.
Simon, maybe this is a good moment. A couple of the students have asked about reading charts. Not that I don't read their charts for them, but I wanted to give a little plug for your Seva project.
Yes, let me share that screen here. Let me take you to that. It's called 5-Minute Astrology. And it's a project that just came to me, and it's $36. It goes directly to charity, to medical relief for India. So like it says, get a reading, save the world, have coffee. You sign up, and what you get is a 5-minute reading from one of our astrologers, either me or one of our people. And we've got a number on staff here, and you get a little introduction to your chart. But all 100% of what you donate, in fact, it doesn't go through any of us. It goes straight to Medical Relief for India. So if you guys are interested, just go to 5minuteastrology.com, tell your friends about it, and you will get a reading. And it's cheap, and it's usually more than 5 minutes. I mean, I've done like 11, 12 minutes, and you can cover a good deal of info.
So Simon, most of them have had me read their charts, but I know that I know the first time you have your chart read, you're still like floundering around planets and so on. So as they get better, I think it's a great opportunity to have some of the real good readers look at their charts and
well,
have
you're not going to get a full Jyotish reading at 5-Minute Astrology.
No, it's fine, but still a different view from a different room, Simon.
Yeah. If you want a full reading, I do recommend Nadia. She ardramoon.com is her site, and she's also an illustrator, a designer, but a really good
And a yogi.
and a
and a yogi.
yogini. Yes, that's right. That's right. And so you can go to her site here and schedule, and she's got so many options. I mean, you can do a 1 hour and 47-minute reading. No, I'm kidding. But there are a lot of options here. You can see. It's cute, huh? 1 hour initial, and the moon is a small, then 1.5 hour, it's bigger. Cute.
We can't see that screen, Simon.
What?
We're looking at the lesson number 1.
Oh, well, you haven't been looking at what I've, okay, well, let me go back to 5 minutes. Okay, this is 5 minute astrology.
There it is.
Oh my God. Okay.
No worries.
I'm a dummy. All right, so this is 5minuteastrology.com. And basically, a little explainer video. This tells you what we do, who we are. Here, this is more about the charity. And these are the astrologers here. A bunch of very important looking people. And this is these are the people you're helping. And again, every donation goes directly to Dr. Chuddak. Dr. Chuddak, his foundation, I should say, is a surgeon from a heart surgeon who was a director of the Delhi hospital, the biggest hospital in the biggest city in the most populated country in the world, or the second most. I mean, incredible kind of job, but he's also a Vedic astrologer, and he's written maybe a dozen books in Vedic astrology. And so he straddles these two unique cultures. Anyway, so every penny goes to help his organization when you go to 5 Minute Astrology. If you want a longer reading, go to ardramoon.com. This is Nadia's website, and she will help you with, here are some of her designs, options for readings, and she can give you a full, so a 1 hour, 1.5 hour, 2 hour, 2.5 hour, oh my God, or a 3 hour, a full moon reading. Or a little eating meeny 30-minute follow, and so forth. So anyway, go there for and that's her, for a full session. Okay, let's talk about Sanskrit. Any other questions, thoughts?
No.
How come for that astrology chart that you had showed, there wasn't the symbol for any of the, yeah, the for any of the.
So Om is beyond the it's the Agya chakra, so it's beyond the phenomenal plane. You mean this chart here?
No, the other one that was like a circle.
Yeah, so Om is well, in either of these, Om, actually it's down here, but you see even here, it's beyond the everyday phenomenal plane. It represents the divine. And so the divine is not incarnate. This is the divine unincarnate, disincarnate. So we live in the phenomenal world. And so these sounds have to do with the phenomenal world. So if you want to improve your arthritis, there's a sound for that. Om is the sound of the background hum of the universe, the sound of your essential nature, which is why it precedes any other mantra. So you, instead of Namah Shivaya, you say Om Namah Shivaya. Om Ganganapataye Namaha. Or
Makes
even,
sense.
okay?
Mm-hmm.
Other questions?
Difference between a Namaha and Swaha?
Namaha is when you are individually or saluting a deity or an energy, you're invoking an energy. Swaha is when you're working with fire. It's only used during fire ceremony because Svaha is said to be the wife of Agni. So she, the cohort of the fire element. So to connect to the fire element, you say Svaha when you, give a piece of rice or something there. So you never use Svaha outside of that.
Good to know.
Well, I shouldn't say never. It's typically, that's its sphere. That's the sphere of using Svaha. In fact, it can be used outside in certain contexts, but Namaha is your safe choice. Yeah. And Namaha is nam is where the word namaste comes from. It's the nam is where the word name comes from, excuse me. And your name is your essential nature. And so when you say namaste, te means you, to you. Namaha, to you, means I salute you, literally, in everyday speak. But on the deeper level, it means I invoke your true name. So again, we come back to sound. So when you say namaste, you're saying I invoke your true name, your true nature. Now, some people say the divine in me honors the divine in you. No, yes, you could say that it's beautiful, but it's not what it means. And it is and it isn't. I mean, it on the higher sort of, more spiritual level, it is, because you're saying I invoke your true name and your true name is divine and my true name is divine. But on the very pedestrian level, namaste literally means I salute you. It's a greeting. I salute you. So it's like aloha. Aloha is also a very spiritual word. And so you could say it when you meet someone, I salute you. When you say goodbye, I salute you. But on the next level up, it means I honor your name. Mm-hmm. And then on the highest level, you could say the divine in me honors the divine in you, right? So namaha is similar to that. So when you say namaha, you're in a sense, Om Shiva, Om Namaha Shivaya. I salute Shiva. I say, what's up, Shiv? What's up, Shiva? I salute you, man. That's what you're saying. But on the deeper level, you're saying, I invoke your essence, Shiva, because your essence is in your name, Shiva. It's the essence of auspiciousness. Om Namah Shivaya. I invoke the essence of auspiciousness. So on the pedestrian level, you're saying, what's up, Shiva? On the higher level, you're saying, I invoke your true name. So, and when I say pedestrian, what I mean is that this language, Sanskrit, is a spoken language. It is spoken in many places in India. And so you can talk about, how your website got hacked in Sanskrit. You can talk about, I went to the store today and bought peanuts. Like very pedestrian kind of use of communication. Right, and you don't need to go beyond that, but Sanskrit can go beyond that, and that's what I mean to separate the pedestrian meaning from the deeper meaning. So that's namaha. See, when you ask me a question, you're not going to get a 30-second answer. So you're going to get a 15-minute answer. So, but hopefully it's a complete answer. Any other questions before we move forward?
No, very helpful.
Okay. So, all right. So let's just go a little bit into pronunciation. I do want to leave you with something that that's practical on the pedestrian level. So, the basic rule of Sanskrit pronunciation is that the sound is totally different from Okay, if you remember this, you're 80% there. I'm serious. It's that simple. So whenever you see this, in English, we call it the letter A. It could be any number of things in English, because like in this word, it's right? Father. Would you all agree? Do you guys see this word?
Yes. Yes.
Yep.
What about this?
Bather.
Bather. Now it became A. Why? Because we just changed the first letter. There is no rule in English that tells us this. There is no rule. There is no rule, guys, in English that says when after B, this becomes A. This is just random. There is no such randomness in Sanskrit. What about this?
Leather.
So we went from A to A to A. There's no rule in English that accounts for this. This is pure randomness, which is why when people try to learn English, they go, "Ma che cosa c'è? What is up with this language? Today it's father, next it's be, next is next, right? Why doesn't the sound sounded the same? It should sound the same." Right? That's my bad Italian accent. So in Sanskrit, as in other phonetic languages like Japanese, this sound, like this sound, what we call A, is always the same. And in Sanskrit, this is Everybody say And this sound here on the right is Say Okay. So now, how would we pronounce this first word here?
Shiva.
Nope. The first word. Try again. Shiva.
Shiva.
Yeah, now I haven't talked about the E because the E is also short. So unless you see a line over the E, it's not going to be Shiva. It's not Shiva. It's a man. She. It's not she. It's Shiva. Say Shiva.
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 Now what is this?
Shiva.
Yes. Thank you. Now, check this out. When there is a line over the and it ends a word, 70 to 80% of the time, it makes the word feminine. So now, who is the guy and who is the girl?
Shiva is the guy.
Shiva is the yogi, right? Shiva is his wife. So if you say, "Oh, I love Shiva," that means you love Parvati, Shiva's wife. You get it?
Yeah.
Let's try this again. So let's say this word here. Oops, this first word.
Mala.
No.
Mala.
I heard someone say mullah. Is always So say it again.
Mullah.
Mullah. Okay.
Mala.
How about the second word?
Mala.
Mala. Wonderful. So mullah means shit. Mala means a garland of beautiful flowers. So where I went to school at the Ayurvedic Institute, the first year students always offered a garland to Dr. Lad, and they would come up, "Hi, Dr. Lad. Last night I made you a beautiful mullah, and I'd like to put it on you. Is that okay?" And of course, Dr. Lad would smile, and but it's like saying, "Last night I made a shit, and I'd like to put it all over you." That's what you're saying. So there is a difference, ladies and gentlemen, between and Please pay attention. So mullah, mala. Let's try the third word here. Third row. How would we say this word?
Ananda.
I heard ananda. I heard a long here in the middle, but there is no long So say it. Say it as it's written.
Ananda.
Thank you, Kevin. Good job. Everyone else?
Yeah, Kevin.
I'm listening. Say it again.
Ananda.
Yeah. Just say the sound nanda. You see, that sound is always the same. It will never change. Never. Ananda. Now say the next word.
Ananda.
Thank you. Now, which one means bliss and which one means utter misery? What do you think?
First one means bliss.
It's actually the other way around. And now there's no way you could have known this, so no points off. The prefix in Sanskrit is the same as the prefix un in English. So if you said blissful and unblissful, it's similar to that. So Nanda means joy, Nanda. Ananda means unjoy, joyless. Okay? Whereas the prefix a means having much of. So now you have much joy or bliss. You see how important a long a is from a short e. That's why I said 80% of the language is right here in these two letters. If you can get these down, you're almost there with pronunciation. Let's do a couple more. Next, this one.
Bala. Bala.
Not bala, no. Where's the long a? I don't see a long a there.
Bala.
Not bala, no. What is this sound?
Nadine.
Oh.
Yeah, she's on the Zoom.
Hi, Dean.
Hi. Hey now. I heard someone say hey back. Nice.
Hi. Nadine is home, is joining us.
Oh, okay. Welcome. So this sound
Hi,
again.
Simon.
Hi. We have
How are you? Hey. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Kidding.
We
Sorry.
have 12 minutes. So what is this sound?
Bala.
No, it's not bala. There's no a there.
Bela.
Bala.
There's no a there.
Bala.
Bala. Yeah. Remember, this
Bala.
is always this. It will never, ever change, guys. It won't become a, it won't become a, it won't become e. So this is simply bala.
Bala. Bala.
How do we say this?
Bala.
Bala. Bala.
Yeah, bala. Yes, very good. So what's so bala means strength. Bala means child. So how do we say child's pose?
Balasana.
Balansa.
Is it balasana, balasana, or balasana?
Balasana.
Balasana.
It is balasana because bala is child. If you want to call it the strength pose, it would be balasana.
Balasana.
Okay, a little sound makes a big difference, like between poop, shit,
Bala.
and garland. You want to be careful what you give to people. So I'm gonna skip some of these. We don't have time for these, but it may be useful to go into the names of some of the asanas. What are some asana names that you guys may have that you want to maybe check, see if we're doing them right?
Saying Utkatasana.
All right, so Utkatasana,
Yes.
this.
Yes.
So ut means up, kata asana. This should be a T with a dot under it, but I can't write that here. So yeah, this is again pretty straightforward. So let's break it down. How do you say the first part?
Utka.
Utka, and then
Tasana.
dasana. See how this is and this is the word asana. We all say the word asana correctly, by the way. What we mess up is this other stuff. Like, for example, how do we say this?
Ada.
Ada. Muka.
Muka.
Adamukana. Adamuka. Shabana.
It's not It's not That's what I've just finished trying to tell you guys. Adho. Yes, very good. Now, we didn't get to the O's. O's are always long in Sanskrit. A's are always long. So this becomes adho. Now we tend to say the opposite. We say adho. Adho Mukha Svanasana. It's adho mukha. Right? So this is still this A is and then the rest of it is easy. Shvanasana. Right?
Anasana.
Shvanasana.
Sana.
Yeah. So we all say the word asana correctly. That's good. So how do we say this again?
Adho.
Not adho. No.
Adho.
Not,
Adho.
not adho. A is long.
Adho.
And now, whenever you have a long vowel, good. The stress is always on the long vowel. So it's adho. And so you can take all the time in the world to hold that. You can say adho mukha shvanasana. You can say adho. You can hold it for 2, 3, 4, 5 beats. You're not in a hurry when you have a long vowel. When you say shvanasana, shvanasana, the long ahs you can hold. So it's not adho, that's a long ah, it's adho. Guys, believe me, when a Sanskrit speaker or someone from India hears you say that and they hear you say it right, their heart will smile. Just like a Spanish speaker, when they hear you say something in Spanish, me llamo Simón, ¿dónde están las cervezas? Yo quiero una cerveza, por favor. Right? That sounds like an idiot, right? Well, that's how we sound when we mispronounce the Sanskrit, when we say mala instead of mala. But we don't even know that we are sounding like idiots. So it's useful to, it makes sense to learn some of this stuff. So when we say adho mukha shvanasana, someone from India goes, oh, it hurts their ears. But we don't know it. We don't know that we're offending anyone. But it sounds offensive. So I hate to end this on a kind of a negative note, but we have to wake up, guys. Especially if you're going to be teaching. And if you're saying adho mukha shvanasana, then just say it in English. Say downward dog. Okay. And there's nothing wrong with that. Because you're saying the same thing, it's the downward dog pose. If you're going to go for the Sanskrit, then go all the way. Go all the way and do it right. Like if you go to a Mexican bar, just say, can I have a beer, please? Instead of, yo quiero una cerveza, right? And then they go, ay, man, I speak English, please, please. You want a beer, right? Okay, here's a beer, please. Keep that outside. Okay, so if you're going to do the Sanskrit, which I welcome you to do, make the effort to learn the difference between and and that will make all the difference in the world. I promise you. I promise you. Should we do a couple of other asanas here? Have I scared everyone away?
Vrikchasana.
Well, there are two. There's, you mean scorpion pose, which is Vrishchika
No.
asana.
Tree.
Oh, Vrikshasana. Okay. So Vrishchika asana. This is scorpion.
Okay.
And then Vriksha means tree. Asana is asana. So it's when two an and an a come together, they just basically become an a. So it's Vrikshasana.
Adho Mukha.
Not ada, no.
Okay, go ahead.
No, you say.
Bye.
Ada, Mukha,
Not Ada, not Ada,
Oda.
not Oda.
Joe.
Well, there's one teacher, so Ada, Mukha. I don't know.
Nadine, were you here in the beginning?
Now I went and
Okay, so you missed this. All right. So the sound this letter A is always in Sanskrit. It never changes. So when you see the sound at the beginning, it's So adho mukha svanasana or adho, whatever the pose is. Not ada, not ado, adho. Okay, adho means down. So again, if you're going to say it in Sanskrit, try to say it right.